20 for things you're trying to restore. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Sasuke and Naruto struggled through the first couple days glued together, navigating travel, training, eating, sleeping together, and facing it all with the grace of a Niffler in gold withdrawal. Even bathroom arrangements caused quite the background commentary, their voices ringing through the house. "What do you think you're doing?" Sasuke barked from the bathroom. "Hold it!" "I can't hold it for 3 days!" "No, you hold it! Use your left hand, idiots! I'm not..." They'd circled the 5 stages of grief several times, and dragging everyone down with them. Misery really did love company. Everyone under Tazuna's roof suffered through the constant battle. Even the tiniest tasks weren't completed without a side dish of quarreling, like when Tazuna asked him to get a measuring rod in the shed before they headed into town. The moment they stepped outside, Naruto dashed ahead while Sasuke kept a steady, unhurried pace. "The shed is down left," Sasuke said, tugging the blonde back. "Why are you always walking like a funeral procession, eh?" Naruto looked one bad decision away from gnawing his arm off at the elbow. "Why are you always walking like you're skipping out on a ramen mill?" Sasuke strode ahead, the yank on their joint wrist sharp. "And I said left." "I was going left!" "Your other left." Haruhi was reaching her limit, but bringing out a saw was probably overkill. 1.5 days down. We're only halfway," Shikamaru groaned, dragging his feet up to where their teachers, Ino and Tazuna, waited. The shed door creaked open like it hadn't been oiled in years, and Naruto came out of the shed waving the rod. He almost hit Sasuke's head. "But in another 1.5 days they'll be free, and then we'll get peace," Choji told Shikamaru hopefully. "And they won't argue so much." "Oh, Choji." Haruhi turned to him, reluctant to burst his bubble. Yesterday had been bright and sunny, but their second morning dawned grey and foggy. The road into Wave was little more than stubborn weeds and trampled mud that kept clogging the grooves under her sandals. Tazuna hiked ahead with Team 10 flanking him, alert but visibly exhausted by the ongoing duet of misery that was Haruhi's teammates. Sasuke had wrestled custody of the rod, though Naruto kept trying to snap it back at unaware moments. Shikamaru let out a long, suffering sigh. "They're like 2 stags that got their antlers locked," he muttered, casting an unimpressed glance over his shoulder. Except the clan deer at home usually stop struggling before they kill each other. "Stags?" Haruhi looked up. "What?" "When stags challenge each other, sometimes they get their antlers tangled during battle and can't get free," Shikamaru drawled. "Your teammates are a lot like that." "Yeah, they really are, but..." "We're not deer!" Naruto protested, though Haruhi pretended not to hear it. "I mean, you have clan deer? Like I have a cat?" she asked Shikamaru. Deer really wasn't a typical household animal around Konoha. "They're part of the clan. We've raised them for centuries. Medicinal stuff, mostly. Antlers, herbs, that kind of thing. They roam the Nara forest and we keep them safe. They're not pets. More like backyard tenants who don't pay rent." To be fair, that sounds a lot like Inku's living arrangement too. Though Haruhi hadn't known people kept deer in Konoha. The most she knew of deer was, well, that her Patronus took the shape of a stag, and that her dad, the first dad, not the second one, could turn into one as his animagus form, just as how Sirius could turn into a great black dog, so big and imposing she'd once mistaken him for a bear, or the Grim. The Marauders had been a pack, a peculiar one combining a stag, a dog, a wolf, and a traitorous rat, the 4 roaming the forbidden forest. She watched the Nara clan symbol on Shikamaru's back, evaluating the unforeseen tidbit. The Nara had a forest full of deer, did they? Curious. Was it though? Why did it stand out? Just because her old life was linked to stags didn't mean such meant anything here. At the same time, this wasn't the first time that happened, was it? Yesterday's discussion regarding the Nara's affinity for yin release stirred the same line of thoughts. Haruhi shook her head, slowing her pace so Team 10 and Tazuna was ahead. Irritated by her overactive imagination, but it was easier said than done. Seagulls soared overhead, letting out sharp caw, which Haruhi hardly noticed, trying not to think too hard on ways shadows could link to blacks. Deer to dogs, past to present. Not even Choji humming an old children's song in the rhythm of a marching chant registered as more of a background noise. That's not a very cheery song, is it? Tazuna said. Choji paused. You don't know it? I've known it as long as I can remember. I think everyone in Konoha does. Right, Shikamaru? Yeah, he agreed. I guess it's the sort of thing ninjas would sing to their kids, Tazuna concluded. Choji kept going with the pace of his steps. Listen well, young wanderer, be clever to your core, for only fools walk blindly past the danger they ignore. Konoha hunts in forests deep, they'll catch you long before. Soon as stalks through shifting sands, you'll vanish evermore. Kiri will take you on the ocean tides, no body to restore. Iwa lurks in mountain stone, their patience wins the war. And Kumo strikes with lightning's bite, one flash and nothing more. They rounded a bend in the road, where the tired houses became more stacked. The street was cobbled but dirty, the mist painting everything bleak. For such a worn place, there were a lot of people. Too many people with too little to do. Nowhere to be other than roadsides looking for opportunities. And they weren't idle. The whispers from yesterday had grown legs. Solid gold. Worth a fortune. Someone saw it near the river. The town is a lot louder today, Inu remarked unhappily. It was a fair point, as Haruhi didn't need to enhance anything to catch the rumors skittering through the doorways, darting between clusters of villagers, or weren't pretending not to stare anymore. A fisherman paused mid-repair of his net, gaze lingering too long on Naruto's pouch. A pair of teenagers whispered behind their hands. A man with a cracked bucket stepped aside too quickly, eyes darting to Tazuna, then to the genin, then back again. They don't think we've got the gold, right? Choji asked slowly. They've heard a ninja has the statue, and we're ninja. Shikamaru shook his head. But it's not us. Well, Haruhi scratched her chin, uncomfortable. Even if we don't have the gold now, it's our mission to get it back. Sooner or later, they'll be right. Yeah, Kakashi-sensei sighed. Watch out for that. A young boy and his little sister sat on the ground beside the collapsed fence, sharing a cracker. Spotting the ninjas, the boy hid the food behind his back and pulled his sister up. The two scrambled to hide, as if afraid they'd steal it. Naruto watched after them with sadness. He caught Sasuke's eye, and for once there was no bickering, just grim understanding. If anyone needed a golden teddy, it was those kids. Yet it was her job to make sure that didn't happen. It didn't sit well with any of them. But what else could they do? It wasn't in their power to help these people. As ninjas, their job was to return that statue to the princess. But what about their duty as fellow humans? They reached the harbor, finding it blackened in heavy fog so thick there wasn't an ocean view anymore, just clouds drifting over the ocean. A couple weather-worn boats were tied to the docks, and beyond the wooden pier Haruhi could make out the broken mill they'd passed yesterday. It was quiet today, their footsteps carrying on the windless air as they trotted over the aged, squeaky wood boards. "We'll head to the bridge soon. This shouldn't take long. Just a checkup to see what needs done," Tazana muttered. "If that mill stays broken, Wave won't last another winter." "That's been broken for a while," Shikamaru stated, looking dubious at the structure. "You're right. It was a rough winter. We can't have that repeat. But I can't be everywhere, and my priority is the bridge. I'll be quick with this though," Tazana stated. He took a swig of his sake, grabbed a rod out of Naruto's hand, and headed inside. The plan was for Tazana to inspect the damage, then head to the bridge with Team 10. Haruhi wasn't sure whether Tazana was the only builder around, or the only one who didn't let fear stop him. Of course, having 2 ninja teams watching his back might have made him braver too. When they stepped inside the mill, Haruhi cast a curious glance around. With the exception of Tazana's stumbling footsteps, the only sound was the drip, drip, drip of water leaking from somewhere unseen, like a clock counting down. The air was heavier and cool. The walls were streaked with moss where the salty spray had crept in. They didn't just crack it, they broke the axle beam clean through. Shikamaru's voice was flat, but his eyes narrowed in on the problem. The thick, horizontal log running through the center of the wheel holding everything together was split down the middle. He crouched under the wheel, tapping the wood with 2 fingers. Waves hit hard, but they don't strike in one clean direction. This was a deliberate blow, or 3. Even storms don't crack beams like this. The rest of this is neglect after this happened, right? "You know how a wave mill works, boy?" Tazana asked. "I have eyes," Shikamaru drawled. Haruhi watched. She was so used to Shikamaru's apathy that this felt off. He volunteered to look at the mill, figured it out, and even shared details, showing some initiative. Maybe getting a life suited Shikamaru more than the school bench. He was already more useful for mill diagnostics than any troops in hoops games back in school, that's for sure. She didn't know where his proficiency came from either. Now that she thought about it, she'd never seen Shikamaru study, or try. But looking at him right then, one would never guess that. True, the bare minimum of meeting Genin qualification wasn't nothing, so Shikamaru must have been forced, somehow, to do a little work, but just about everyone else tried harder, like Shiho. She was brainy too, but she worked hard on top of her natural talents. Haruhi sighed. Shikamaru's was a particular kind of effortless talent. It wasn't like skilled ninjas like Sasuke or Neji, as Shikamaru fell into his own lane of talent. It simply was, with or without effort, which set it apart from others who were probably stronger, but they also worked for it. Shikamaru didn't, yet was somehow able to keep up. She hadn't met too many like that. Itachi had that sort of talent, sure, but amplified because he worked for it too, so it wasn't quite right either. Just like her brother, maybe. Or in a weird way, it was almost like serious. He'd goofed off and done pranks, but still easily kept up. The Shikamaru would be a rather calm, low-energy version, but they both had that effortless talent factor. No sooner did Haruhi make the connection, again, before she grumbled under her breath. Why? Her mind had gone there once again. That nagging suspiciousness she tried not to dwell on since the Yin release talk yesterday. Well, it came sneaking back. Sure, there was the talented thing, and the Yin thing Naras were known for, and stacks, blacks and shadows, but nothing else. Well, hadn't Ino said Shikamaru was like an old man stuck inside a Genin? And wasn't he the Nara heir? Sirius had been an eldest son too. And unlike the rest, Shikamaru hadn't laughed off magic. Haruhi glanced towards Shikamaru from the corner of her eye. He didn't look like serious. He didn't sound like serious. But something in the way he frowned... No, she was being silly. If there was any chance in hell that Sirius Black was somehow Shikamaru, Haruhi would have known sooner. She would have felt it, seen signs, noticed it. Because how could she have missed what was right in front of her eyes? That'd be tragic. Surely she wasn't that blind. There should have been more. But wasn't that the issue? Now that Shikamaru wasn't asleep all the time, there actually seemed to be more. How are you gonna fix it, drunk grandpa? Naruto asked the builder, giving Haruhi a much-needed distraction. I'm examining it, shorty. Making a plan, Dazuna grumbled. When my bridge is done, I want to be ready to get what's needed to fix this too. We brought the wrong bloodline, Kakashi-sensei said. How so, Kakashi-sensei? Choji stood, brushing dirt from his hands. Just that. Kakashi-sensei rubbed the back of his neck, taking a moment to answer. Some are able to fix things like this in ways we simply can't. Naruto looked up at their teacher. Like a repair jutsu? Sure. A repair jutsu, Reparo. At that moment, she welcomed another problem to angst over. One that didn't make her spiral about who may or may not be her reborn godfather, or ponder whether Haruhi was so blind she'd grown up alongside him yet completely missed it. And really, this issue might actually be more dire. Could Haruhi do another spell? Should she try casting Reparo on the beam? Her fingers twitched, but common sense halted the reflex in the next beat. What if the spell went wrong again? Like during the fight? The Protego spell had worked. It should have been a victory when the chain deflected. She'd cast wandless magic with her eyes. Except the immediate backlash had been too brutal. Haruhi had been helpless afterwards. Her chakra network unbalanced. Yin release running at half the speed of Yang. Her jutsu slower and her Sharingan inaccessible. Sure, it had passed eventually, but what if she tried and it happened again? What if it didn't go over the next time? What if casting magic wasn't training up an unused muscle? What if she was ruining it? Was she damaging her chakra network by pushing her magic through channels not designed to handle it? Chakra was so much more flexible in this life and came more naturally, while magic was still so soul-bound. Haruhi exhaled. These drawbacks were so frustratingly inconvenient. The only solution seemed, once again, to divide the source, split the spirit, the soul, and keep magic and chakra separate. Then Haruhi might be able to use chakra and magic interchangeably without dealing with all these damn consequences. Shikamaru pointed at a jagged split running straight through the beam. Even if Tarzan had a replacement, he'll need 10 civilians to lift the wheel off his thing, and a crane. And time Wave doesn't have. A beam this size has to be cut from a single tree. So it can't be patched, Haruhi surmised. No, they didn't want it damaged, Shikamaru said. They wanted it dead. Dead. The word echoed dimly in the empty mill. How long is this going to take? Sasuke wondered. We don't all need to be in here. Team 7 can wait outside, Kakashi-sensei suggested. Keep an ear out for news on a statue, Zabuza or Gato. We don't lack for problems. Your intel gathering? Ino asked, turning away from her teammates with an elegant twirl. I can help. When Asuma-sensei approved, Kakashi-sensei gestured for Ino to join. Don't overdo it, Ino, Asuma-sensei reminded her. We're off to the bridge after this. Sure. Ino skipped over, delighted at the assignment change. This'll be so much fun, Sasuke-kun. Sasuke's eyes widened just the slightest. He scurried backwards, trying to place Naruto between them like a human shield. But it was no use. He was caught. Sasuke grumbled as he trudged outside, a blonde on each arm. Haruhi sniggered. Outside, the morning mist drifted through a wave. Haruhi squinted, trying to make out shapes that refused to stay clear. It felt uncomfortably familiar, like her thoughts lately, fogged at the edges, refusing to settle. They walked down to the harbor, where the same whispers from yesterday had grown legs, scurrying around the village. Treasure. If someone else doesn't get it first. Naruto slowed. Why is everyone looking at us like that? What do you think? Sasuke muttered. Without Tazuna, the suspicion and staring amplified. Their eyes slid over the metal plate of their forehead protector, their pouches. Team 7's missing golden teddy bear was becoming less a stolen trinket and more of a fuse. It doesn't seem right, Naruto mumbled. Can't we do anything? Do you have any suggestions? Haruhi asked, thinking of the reparo again. We are helping, Kakashi-sensei said. Protecting Tazuna is helping them. Team 10 is, Naruto said. And it's not enough. No, it wasn't. Excuse me? Ino asked sharply, leaning across Sasuke to glare with such outrage Haruhi was distracted. My team is doing their best. But you're not strong, Naruto blurted with a straight face. That Zabuza guy would have totally kicked your ass if we didn't save you. Here we go, Haruhi groaned. Sure, Team 10 didn't strike Haruhi as the most combat-focused squad either, but Naruto really should learn to filter his thoughts before speaking. Like you don't want to talk, dead last! Ino screeched, her face going pink. What is your great accomplishment, you waste of space? Except being a loud, stupid burden on poor Sasuke-kun. It's better than you guys. Shikamaru's lazy and whines about the smallest thing. Choji does nothing but eat and you're crazy obsessed. You want to talk about whiny, crazy, getting obsessed with food? You should look in a mirror. Kakashi smacked Naruto over the back of the head. Ouch! Naruto rubbed the spot, looking betrayed up at her sensei. Cut it out, Kakashi-sensei ordered, and Sasuke looked up thankfully. Nuh-uh, Ino taunted, sticking out her tongue and pulling down the lower eyelid. Ino, you're here to assist, Kakashi-sensei reminded her. I am. Ino tossed her long hair over her shoulder. Because unlike some, I'm useful, even assisting in a mission that's not my own. As if on cue, Shikamaru came around the corner too. You done? Kakashi-sensei called. Not yet, Tanara said. But I don't need to stick around in there. Then proceed, Ino. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. She put her hands in a seal, but then paused, glancing at Sasuke under her eyelashes. You'll look after my body, won't you, Sasuke-kun? Excuse me? Haruhi asked, startled. Ino being forwards was nothing new, but what the hell? What did she mean? Was that too far? Ino glanced innocently to Haruhi, like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. I'm going to use my mind-body switch jutsu to find intel on your statue. I'll do all the hard work, but I must be protected. My mind will be busy at work, leaving my body vulnerable. Since I'm helping you so much, I want my body to be in the best hands. Surely, that'd be with Sasuke-kun. He was the Rookie of the Year. That's reasonable, Kakashi-sensei drawled. Is it? Sasuke asked sharply. You two don't blend, Kakashi-sensei shrugged. And the Yamanaka mind arts will leave Ino vulnerable. two boys tied together with an unconscious girl will look suspicious no matter where you go. Better just have you all on the same assignment. Ino, do your jutsu. Sasuke and Naruto will guard you. That's not a fair assignment, sensei, Naruto whined. Too bad. Next time there's a glue ninjutsu, don't get hit. Sensei Ai smiled. Or just in general, avoid getting hit by anything from now on. The Yamanaka stepped up, positively glowing. You'll need to know how my jutsu works. Didn't you tell us yesterday? Sasuke asked. That was just yin release talk, not practical knowledge. I'll transfer my mind into a bird. Civilians won't talk around us, but they don't know to suspect a seagull. However, there are some risks, Ino said, talking mostly to Sasuke. My mind will be in the bird, detached from my body, but I know you'll keep me safe. Oh, Haruhi hummed. She could see several uses for it, but it sounded inconvenient too, and exposed. Are there any risks? Well, that's more on my end, Ino shrugged. If someone attacks the bird I'm possessing, my body gets hurt too. An attack on the spirit is mirrored on the flesh. That sounds dangerous, Haruhi said. Ino paused, maybe sensing it wasn't a casual remark. Aww, are you concerned for me? It sounds like your jutsu leaves you vulnerable from two ends. Your own body and the one you possess. Haruhi pressed the point. What happens if someone senses the bird isn't normal? This is Zabuza we're dealing with. What if someone kills the bird? She didn't get an answer right away, but between Ino's pursed lips and Shikamaru's knowing side-eye, Haruhi felt she'd hit the nail on the head. I'm careful. Ino put weight on the words. I know to look out for wildlife, and if there's any risk at all, I'll return to my body. Trust me, all Yamanakas know how dangerous it is if the spirit gets trapped outside the body. The perils of getting lost in someone else's. Ino said. This is my clan's specialty. I've got this. They went into an empty alleyway where Ino marked her target. A sleepy seagull perched on a chimney. Ino held out her hands, making an unfamiliar seal and aimed. Mind-body switch! Her eyes dilated, and next she fell. Sasuke caught her and helped her limp body down. Haruhi imagined she almost felt Ino's spirit flicker past in the air, like a pulse shooting up towards the bird. It woke with a start. Wah! It stretched its wings, and with a nod to Team 7, took off flying. With Ino working and you two on guard duty, Kakashi started and pointed between Naruto and Sasuke. Haruhi, Shikamaru and I will look around the village. Shikamaru can take the main road, Haruhi will stick to the harbor, and I'll check the outskirts. He paused, his visible eye darting between Haruhi and Shikamaru. I presume I don't need to give you the stranger danger talk? No. Haruhi shook her head. If I get attacked, everyone come to where the fire started. It'll be me. Shikamaru snorted. And if I run into Zabuza, I guess I'll... Scream, Sasuke suggested, smirking. They shouldn't approach you here. The ninjas have kept a very low profile in public spaces. They are wanted criminals. Not here, maybe, but Wave is half of them, and you will keep to the public. The civilians might talk, but it's safest, Sensei said, and clapped his hands together. Great. We'll meet by the mill in half an hour. Shikamaru wandered off while Sasuke and Naruto found a corner to prop Ino against. It didn't look great, but at least it no longer looked like the boys had kidnapped an unconscious girl, or like they were carrying around a dead body. She looked back and forth for Kakashi-sensei, but he'd already disappeared, not a trace left behind. So Haruhi headed for the ocean, eyes following the seagull soaring up, until it disappeared into the mist. She hoped Ino knew what she was doing. A spirit outside the body? It sounded almost like death, like what she'd been at one point, except she hadn't been earthbound, going beyond the veil. Holly's body was destroyed, leaving her soul to float between space, time, and worlds. Haruhi looked at her hands. Even in death, she'd been searching, tracking a trail, until she was tethered here. Of all the countless possibilities, her soul had found its way into this vessel of flesh and blood, reborn in this very specific second life as Uchiha Haruhi. It was more by design than she'd known to put into words. Reborn into a clan that just happened to have a bloodline with such a strong yin release, uniquely able to handle magic in ways that'd cripple others. Like Ino would surely know too, messing with a spirit was dangerous. It took a certain strength of spirit to throw the soul around like the Yamanaka, to use it for the Sharingan, or in Haruhi's case, to exploit it with a secondary energy system like magic. Both had to deal with risks to utilize the advantages. So why should Haruhi assume the time and place of her rebirth was sheer coincidence too, when nothing else had been? It shouldn't be. It wasn't. Haruhi wouldn't believe it hopeless. She felt it in her bones. Her soul hadn't been tethered here by accident. Just like she was sure Sirius was in this world, Haruhi couldn't shake the feeling it was in this time. She'd been reborn as Uchiha Haruhi and no one else, because this life was where her soul had judged Sirius was within reach. He might even be somewhere close. And if so, there was only one indisputable truth. Haruhi'd get nowhere if she didn't investigate. Her godfather wouldn't simply come strolling up to her while Haruhi waited patiently. For that to be remotely possible, Sirius would have to die first to recall who he used to be, just like Haruhi did. And though it would make it so much easier for her, Haruhi didn't want that for him. Sirius had been chased and hunted. He'd endured injustices and the torture of Azkaban. Hadn't Sirius been through enough hellishness in his first life? No. Better he never remembered them being made to suffer. So twiddling her thumbs until Sirius got around to the hard work of searching was just an unproductive daydream. It was up to Haruhi to get answers. Shikamaru. Shikamaru always said he wanted to be a cloud and drift along wherever the breeze took him. But Wave's clouds didn't drift. They sank. Here, trudging through the morning mist, it was like the sky had come down to street level. Cold and moist. Troublesome. Even his daydreams were a drag in this place. Shikamaru kept a leisurely yet resigned pace, keeping an ear out for whispers lurking behind corners. They shouldn't be here. This wasn't a C rank anymore. Naruto and Sasuke were still glued together. Choji was learning grain production, and Ino was off joyriding in a seagull, while Shikamaru was stuck doing legwork in a starving village. Bothersome didn't even begin to cover it. Daylight filtered evenly through the coverage, making everything seem flat and grey. A world of low contrast, near shadowless. How ironic. Wave was smaller than Konoha, spread across several islands. The main portion of the village straddled a narrow channel harbour, its docks lining both banks of the waterway that split the island in two. Even with Shikamaru's leisurely pace, it didn't take long getting down the road and through the market, before turning back around. He heard their whispers and saw the watchers scurry. More of the same. As if their mission hadn't been problematic enough, Team 7 just had to add a treasure hunt. Shikamaru followed the street back, squinting into the mist when the buildings suddenly stopped, the roads opening wide. He was back on the waterway channel. Shapes drifted in and out of it when footsteps approached. Smoother than civilians, lighter than Choji or Asuma-sensei, more even than the chaos of Sasuke and Naruto, less direct than Ino. and had yet to hear Kakashi-sensei's footsteps at all. He looked over and saw the red of Haruhi's shirt first, the color cutting through the misty grey as her outline pulled into focus, as if the fog had finally decided to stop hogging her. How dramatic. Uchihas. Shikamaru gave a small nod. Heard anything? Haruhi asked. Nothing useful. Me neither, she said. Only more of the same. Gossiping civilians. Can you blame them? She combed her fingers through her bangs and he noticed wounds along her knuckles. A training injury so normal it was categorized as a classic. He resisted the urge to tell her to bandage them. Not his problem. As for the civilians searching for gold, Shikamaru shrugged. It made sense. Haruhi had always been easy enough to read. She came in a pair, Sasuke and Haruhi, the Uchiha cousins. Confident in that elite clan sort of way, sharp when she wanted to be, but outgoing enough as long as her competition streak didn't flare. She was pretty too, though the scar across her face made most hesitate to say it. After it healed out of the ugly stage, the cut across her face made her striking, intimidating even. Though most misread the cousins, thinking the scar made Haruhi look cutting, while Sasuke's perfect face made him seem soft. Reality was the opposite, but most didn't notice. Shikamaru had her figured out years ago, which is how he knew something was different. She'd been watching him all morning and been unusually inquisitive. Yesterday too, actually. Asking more of others while sidestepping answers like she was dodging hits during a game of hoops and troops. And from the way she was eyeing him, her questionnaire wasn't done. Are you done? She asked. Just about. Haruhi wordlessly fell into step beside him, heading the same way, or so he assumed at first. Can we talk? He blinked once, slowly. This was different. About what? Was Haruhi worried about walking around Wave? It was a risk with Zabza, the demon brothers and their mysterious accomplice lurking around, but it wasn't a big village. Backup was never far away. Sure, she was softer than Sasuke, but he hadn't pegged her for the easily spooked sort either. Somewhere above him, the gulls chattered with each other, their pitch piercing through mist. When Shikamaru glanced over, her eyes fixed on him, her hair wind-tossed and curly from the salt. The diagonal scar across her face turning her already sharp stare into something intense. Hers got deeper and longer than his dad's face scars did. No, not scared exactly, but maybe keyed up, nervous. Ugh. He couldn't pinpoint why just yet, but Shikamaru already knew he'd regret this. Okay, talk. She took a breath. Earlier, you said another clan uses yin release naturally, that it's instinctive. Yeah, he said, reassessing. Shadow techniques are yin-based. It's just how chakra works. She wanted to keep talking about the stuff from yesterday? He guessed that was better than most silly girl stuff. Ino once tried to get his opinion on nail polish. So you've always been good at it? Pretty much, he shrugged. Dad says I had strong yin from the start. Most Nara do though. You're born with bigger yin reserves than is considered normal. Right, he confirmed. Picked up shadow control faster than most. Haruhi hummed like she was filing that away. And you are the clan heir? Yes, Shikamaru drawled, wondering why the topic was drifting from yin release to family structure. Why? No reason, she said too quickly. Just curious. We were classmates, but on this mission I've learned all sorts about Team 10, you know? Ino's mind arts, your shadows. Is it a crime to be curious? She... what? Wanted to get to know them? Be friendly? And now of all times, amidst a mission? During an assignment? Wait, was this girl talk? But he was a guy, so she was making small talk. Women were so chatty, maybe she couldn't help it. I guess not. But why him? Why couldn't she go gossip with Eno? She'd love it. Is it the yin stuff again? And some other things, Haruhi said slowly, only to follow that up with a long silence. She was fiddling with the hem of her red shirt, looking up, away, then back. Can I just... It's going to sound strange. Just get on with what you want to ask, Haruhi. Right. She nodded, inhaled deeply, bracing herself, looking like she'd made up her mind. So much theatrics. What was the big deal? Did you ever feel like you were expected to be something? She asked in a rush. Because of your family. That's what had her all tied up in a knot? Women. So emotional. Shikamaru snorted. All the time. Clan air stuff. Strategy training. Dad's expectations. It's a drag. She nodded again. Right. A beat of silence, then... What about the deer? The... deer? What was the leap of logic there? Nara-related things? But it wasn't the only option, and the abrupt switch left Shikamaru with no idea where she was going. A novel experience, in truth. Normally, Shikamaru predicted people's next move long before they themselves did. But he had to admit, this time, he might be lost. How unpleasant. Like a fawn in the forest full of trampled trails, unsure which one led back to the herds. He went through several scenarios, but none of them fit perfectly with his previous observations. Your clan's deer, she clarified, and to make this more confusing, asked, do you feel connected to them? Connected how? I don't know. Drawn to them, like they're familiar. An old friend. Shikamaru rubbed the back of his neck. I mean, they're around a lot. I grew up with them. They're clan, easy to be around. Better than people most days. So you do feel something. Haruhi's eyes sharpened. Shikamaru had to look away for a second because she was staring. I feel like they don't bother me, he said meaningfully, hoping she'd take the hint. But no, Haruhi didn't look convinced and didn't let up. Do you ever feel older than you are? What? Like you're 12, but sometimes you feel older, like you've lived more than you should have. Ugh, this was getting personal. All the same, she was onto something. Shikamaru didn't have much in common with his classmates. Most their age didn't like the same things Shikamaru did, and he didn't enjoy the activities they preferred. No one liked to play shogi with him except his dad. Older people. Why did it matter? I guess... sometimes, he admitted. Not in a weird way. I don't know, I feel... out of sync, I guess. Haruhi straightened to attention like he'd confirmed something important. Her dark stare sharpened by the scar, like a blade. And Shikamaru immediately regretted answering honestly. This had gotten strange. Do you? He asked, grasping for ways to turn the attention off himself. Yes, she said breezily. His fists clenched and unclenched, his palms clammy. She was very intense. Was Haruhi aware she was leaning forwards? Shikamaru shifted back. Do you have weird dreams? Her voice dropped. Define weird. Dreams that feel like memories, she said. Or dreams where you're someone else? Or dreams where you're looking for someone? I dream about clouds and naps, and sometimes my mother yelling at me. That's it. Haruhi cocked her head, tilting it so far her diagonal scar went vertical. The movement made her stare even sharper, like she was trying to line him up with something. Your mum yelling, is she like framed by anything? By things like photographs around her, or is she maybe in them? What kind of question was that? Was she asking what rooms had photographs? Or where his mother was? Or his mother's photos? My mother is usually just yelling from the kitchen. Weird. She was weird. How had he never noticed how weird Haruhi was? He'd been sure he had her figured out, but this Haruhi was a little unhinged. Your mother yelling from the kitchen, so it's inside your childhood home, she repeated, thoughtful and too serious about such an absurd line of questions. Was she onto dream symbolism now? Where else? Shikamaru honestly wondered. What about a sense of searching? Like you're supposed to find someone, but you don't know who. No, he repeated. I'm not searching for anyone. She looked disappointed, embarrassed even. Well, good, because so did he. The weight of the entire conversation was even murkier than the mist in Wave. Haruhi, he said bluntly, what exactly are you trying to figure out? She faltered, words sketching before she shook her head. It's nothing, she said finally. Just ignore me. I'm being weird. Finally, she said something that made sense. Haruhi shifted, at last letting up. Thanks for answering. Sorry if it was strange. It was, he said honestly. Haruhi winced. Right. Well, thanks anyway. She hesitated, opened her mouth, closed it, turned and walked off. Arms folded, head down. Clearly lost in thought. Raven black hair swaying as she left down the harbor. Shikamaru watched her until the mist swallowed her up and let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. What just happened? He replayed the last 15 minutes in his head, trying to make it add up. Haruhi seeking him out, her staring at him, leaning in, asking about his childhood, his family, his abilities, interests, dreams and feelings. Every bizarre question. He shifted through the data like a puzzle, running down the list of possibilities. Scared? No, she wasn't jumpy, just intense. Mission concerns? Her questions weren't about Zabuza. Clan curiosity? Deer and dreams didn't fit that pattern. Suspicion? If she thought he was dangerous, she'd have said so. Recruitment? No. He'd seen Haruhi pitch. She could make Choji give up his chips if she wanted to use it for evil. A meltdown? Too focused on him, not herself. Spy? Please. One by one, the options fell away until only one remained. The one he'd hoped to avoid. Oh no. A long, slow exhale left him. It was such a drag, but so obvious. She's into me. It was the only explanation. She was showing interest in him. Why else would she ask Shikamaru weirdly intimate questions? Why me? Troublesome. He dragged a hand down his flushed face. No, it's worse than troublesome. Shikamaru sat down on a bench with a thump. That one's just trouble. A soft caw sounded above him. Slowly, Shikamaru opened one eye. A seagull was perched on the railing by the water edge, staring down at him with unsettling focus. Head tilted and eyes far too intent for a normal bird. It blinked. Once, twice. In a very familiar rhythm, like possessed. Shikamaru froze. Ino? The gull made an excited, strangled sound that was absolutely a giggle. Sasuke. By the time Ino was waking up, the rest was returning too. Shikamaru had wandered back, making it look like a heavy task to put one foot in front of the other. Kakashi was leaning against the wall, and a seagull landed on a nearby roof. First a jerk, then a shuddering breath. Hey, Spacey Brain's waking up! Naruto exclaimed. Sure enough, Ino's eyes blinked open. What did you learn? Sasuke asked. The Yamanaka mind transfer was incredibly inconvenient, so it better have been worth it. Ino blinked, eyes trailing from Naruto, then Sasuke, landing last on Shikamaru, and she broke into giggles. Naruto caught his eye, and for once they were in agreement. She lost it, Naruto decided. There can't have been a lot of brain there to begin with, but the little left didn't come back. Sasuke pressed his lips together, refusing to smile. Like you're in a position to call others a dumb blonde, he muttered instead. It looks like Harui's returning too. Their sensei nodded down the pier, where Sasuke spotted her outline in the mist. As Harui neared, Shikamaru shifted, walking over to stand between Sasuke and Ino. Do you have to? Sasuke asked dryly, patience running short by now. It's already crowded here. Did no one on this mission respect personal space? Shikamaru rolled his eyes but moved back. Naruto, as always, didn't let it slide. He just wants to make sure his teammate's alright. I don't want to deal with this. I can't wait till I'm free. I'll get some peace and quiet, with no one to bother me. You piss me off, bastard. You're such a loner. I'm trying to. At least Harui stopped at an appropriate distance. Arms folded, quiet, lost in thoughts. She didn't even say hello or look at them. Ma, this should be done in the mill soon. We'll have a debrief with everyone. They didn't have to wait long. Harui reached the group just as the door to the mill opened, and Asuma and Choji exited ahead of Tazuna. By then, Ino had regained her composure. We're being watched, she told Asuma sensei seriously. I heard some thugs. They wondered why we were at the mill instead of the bridge. That's to be expected, Kakashi drawled. This mill is pretty public. Did you hear anything about the gold? It's just like we suspected, Zabuza has it. I overheard some thugs say Zabuza's apprentice was the one who got it. There was a name, Haku, but mostly they called him the Icy Kid. They sounded pretty scared of him. Haku doesn't ring any bells, but most civilians would be scared of ninjas, no matter their age, and having a cold personality probably makes them more wary, Asuma surmised. They don't sound friendly, Ino said. I got the impression Zabuza was hired by Gato, but there's some problems in that organization. At least Gato's thugs talk badly of Zabuza. I can't see them being close. They don't like the ninjas, even though they hired them. Doesn't make sense, does it? They were talking about stealing the gold from Zabuza, but they're too scared to try. So they're not that stupid, Asuma sighed. Pity. How did it go in the mill? Naruto asked the builder. How do you think? It was Tazuna stopped mid-swear words, gaze moving from Harui to Ino, and said instead, The axle beam is the obvious one, but the neglect's causing other issues. We'll just have to see when my bridge is done. It'll cost... and we don't have anything. But we just must figure something out. There isn't a choice, is there? He smiled bravely, though even a toddler could see it was strained. Some things can't be made as good as new, Asama remarked. Some stuff just has to be torn down for new things. Without any warning, Haruhi simply turned from the group and wandered off, heading for the door. Hey, we're not done here, Sasuke called, but Haruhi pretended not to hear, disappearing into the mill. Naruto elbowed his side. Come on. They headed after her. Inside, Haruhi stood before the heart of the mill, staring at the break as if she could will it back together. Haruhi? Why are we not talking about the elephant in the room? Haruhi asked, frustrated. Sasuke didn't know what had come over her. Maybe she'd seen more misery at the harbor. This place can't fit an elephant, Naruto joked. Haruhi rolled her eyes. She looked so done. Wave needs the gold so much more than the princess. The blonde blushed, eyes downcast. Oh, yeah, true. It's our mission, Sasuke said and walked up to her, tugging Naruto along. That statue was stolen, and we must return it. I know. Haruhi's smile was frustrated. So why does it feel like we're robbing Wave? It's Zabuza that robbed us, Sasuke reminded her, getting uncomfortable. His cousin always did this, allowing things she couldn't change to distract her. It kept her from maintaining necessary focus. Her damn bleeding heart. What was the point? Neither of them could fix this cursed world. Better to just get on with what they actually could fix. But Wave knows of it, and they're right to whisper and hope. Just look at this place. Who wouldn't? They need this, and we're just going to come in and take it. Forget missions and excuses. What we do is what matters. If we don't, how are we any better than Gato's thugs, doing whatever the highest bidder orders of us? How are we different than Zabuza, pointed mindlessly at any target simply to chase a useless piece of gold? By all rights, Gato's just a civilian, so much weaker than Zabuza. But he's the one with the money and gets to give the orders. And really, the princess stands no chance against Kakashi-sensei. But who's got the power? Who gets to decide? Naruto swallowed audibly. The one time Sasuke wouldn't have minded he started talking, he decided to go mute. That's not our problem, Haruhi. The world is a mess, what else is new? But we, you and I, are only as good as our words, Sasuke reminded her. If we don't do it, we're just violent liars. Then we really are just like Gato, abusing the power. Haruhi's eyes flickered, resting on Sasuke with a knowing side glance. If you had magic, a spell that could do anything, what would you use it for? Sasuke took pause, both at the abrupt question and that word. Naruto shrugged. Easy, I'd save Wave. Like always, the idiot wouldn't think further than the next lunch. His cousin looked as if she expected Sasuke's answer too, though. To kill him. Maybe Naruto assumed he meant Zabuza, maybe Gato. But Haruhi knew exactly who he meant. Something flickered in her eyes. Not bring them back? It was like a cold plunge. Ice in his veins and fire in his throat all at once. The breath left him. Of course! Sasuke snapped. Her gaze held him trapped a moment longer, until he looked away. Sasuke was so pissed he would have made for the exit if he wasn't literally tied to Naruto, and he sure wasn't budging. What happened during her stroll along the pier to make her this unreasonable? Like hypothetical wish-washy philosophy and trick questions mattered. Gato dried up all the money from this place, holds all the power and uses it to choke the life out of Wave. And still he demands more? How is that fair? How can we just take the gold and skedaddle? It's really bad, Naruto agreed, unusually somber. And I don't know what we can do, but I'm gonna help. We all will. You know, I've been thinking. Shocker, Sasuke muttered under his breath. Naruto elbowed him. We just have to keep fighting back and show that the people of Wave don't stand alone, Naruto insisted. All this makes me think it isn't always great for one guy to have all the money and power. It doesn't seem to do anything good when the one who got everything just won't share. But we'll show that stupid Gato he can't use his powers this way. He's not the only one with powers. Haruhi cocked her head, eyes still fixed on the damaged beam. You have a point. Maybe that's what balance is. To not have everything. Maybe having too much just gets to your head. Separation can be balance. That almost made sense, but why did it seem like Haruhi was talking in code? You mean too much money and power? Naruto asked for the both of them. Money and power? Yes. Having both in the wrong hands is dangerous. Other things too. Someone with both genius and support. A proper family that trains him to excellence, only for him to use it wrong. Can there be too much of a good thing? Overflowing with fortune. Sasuke stiffened. Like having too much green and red. She mused quietly. What do you mean, Haruhi? Naruto asked, scratching his head and having lost the trail of thoughts. I don't know. I'm figuring it out myself. I just need something to go right. Haruhi took a deep breath, hands on her hips. How? Sasuke shook his head. That's just naive. What's this about? Someone will always abuse power. If it isn't Gato, it will be someone else. You can't save the world. True. Haruhi exhaled. I'm no savior, but I can do my best to mend. She finally tore her eyes off the broken beam long enough to glance at Naruto. Heh, do you want to see a magic trick? She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Her mouth opened but hesitated to answer. Was she going to use her Sharingan? Sasuke activated the zone just before Haruhi's eyes flew open. Reparo. The air tightened. A pulse rippled outward. Silent, but heavy enough that Sasuke felt it in his teeth. The beam shuddered and dust rained down on them. The mill groaned like something waking from a long sleep. Haruhi squeezed her eyes shut and staggered back, pinching the bridge of her nose like she was in pain. Sasuke moved at the same time Naruto did, catching her by the elbow. You... He cut off, shocked. The crack in the beam closed up. Not mended or patched, but like watching time rewind until there was never a split in the axle at all. His vision was sharp, but he couldn't even find the damage with his Sharingan. Haruhi was blinking through watery eyes. They were black. Almost black. The greenish hue was more palpable than ever, dragging over her irises, pulling towards the middle. Did you fix it? Choji exclaimed from the doorway. Sasuke rolled back, having been so caught up he hadn't truly registered the others' entrance. Shikamaru didn't look tired anymore, while the adults watched warily. Ino walked forwards, touching the beam with gentle fingers, tracing the seamless, untouched spot. It's like it was never damaged. Sasuke turned to Haruhi. What was that? You already know, Sasuke. Haruhi smiled, her expression flickering with something fiery. There was no mistaking that expression of defiant victory, like the 5-year-old winning a hard spar, even if it meant concussion and a broken arm. Magic.